Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at 10 close calls caught on camera. Every day people get into risky situations which some say are miracles. These are moments where people came face to face with potential doom but miraculously were totally fine. From falling trees to people riding quad bikes on airport runways. Let's get it on. But first, subscribe and press the notification bell too. Coming in at number 10 we have airport quad bike. Have you ever wanted to ride a quad bike? Well then I'm sure the best place for quad biking wouldn't be in a backyard or a field, right? It would be on an airport runway. Well, a few years back, for some reason, two people were riding quad bikes on an airport runway. They were biking around as normal and one friend is filming the other while they're both on quad bikes. In the distance you can kind of see a small Cessna aircraft taking off. However, all of a sudden the plane gets closer and closer fast. It speeds past the two quad bikers and actually has to tilt to avoid them. Are these the craziest people of all time? What were they even doing on an airport runway? Some quad biking companies do actually use airport runways as a large open space for beginners, but not when there's planes actually taking off on it. Here's the video clip for you to check out. Next up is timber. This one is not only amazing because of what happens in the video, but it was also captured so coincidentally. A guy had parked his car and happened to keep his dash cam recording. One day at around 3 PM, a woman in Russia was walking down her street to her apartment. All of a sudden, a massive tree begins to fall for seemingly no reason. The woman in the orange clothes notices, but it seems like the woman in red that the tree's heading straight for won't notice in time. The woman in the red coat then moves to the right just in time as she realizes a massive tree is heading right for her. The tree then crashes to the ground right next to the woman, and it really does seem like she was done for right until she got out of the way. To be honest, if I was the woman in red, I'd be annoyed at the woman in orange here for not shouting timber or something to tell me. Anyway, here's the video clip. Next up is train spotting. Train spotting is often mocked as one of the most boring hobbies ever. I mean, come on, it's not even plane spotting. In case you don't know what train spotting is, it's where people try and take pictures of as many trains as they can, kind of like a collection. Well, perhaps from this video, it's not such a tame hobby. One guy was standing by some train tracks taking photos of a train across the other side of the tracks. However, a train going at hundreds of miles an hour suddenly speeds past. The guy's raincoat pretty much touches the train as it passes by. After the train goes past, the guy looks terrified as if he's just seen a ghost. But in reality, he did almost become a ghost as the train came seriously close to him. I'm kind of surprised all of his friends standing behind him didn't say anything to him about the train coming or even ask if he's okay. Here's the video for you to check out. Next up we have plane landing. We've already seen one crazy airport video with a small plane. Well, here's another, but this time with two huge passenger planes. The footage was taken on the 7th of July 2014 at El Prat Airport in Barcelona. One plane is coming in to land, but the pilot of the landing plane doesn't realize that another one is about to take off. The other plane then moves right into the way of the landing plane, and the pilot has to quickly move the plane up to avoid smashing two planes together. Just imagine being a passenger terrified looking out of the window at this. Luckily, a terrible situation was avoided by the pilot who was landing by circling around in the sky again before finally landing. And later on, the plane that was taking off does seem to move to the left to get out of the way a little, but it's too late. Really here though, the blame lies with air traffic control. They're supposed to tell pilots where and when to land and take off, but it looks like they're not doing their job. Now check out the video and prepare to be stunned. Next up is crocodile stalker. This one is taken in Mexico and is of an ill-informed tourist. Tourists are known for making faux pas in other countries, but they're usually not as dangerous as this one. A tourist was swimming in a lake that he didn't know was infested with crocodiles. He notices one and frantically swims to the shore as the crocodile stalks him, waiting for the right time to strike. Thankfully, there were some locals who were helping. Well, except the guy filming, of course. Anyway, they threw large pieces of wood into the water to try and distract the crocodile. It was a long shot figuratively and literally, but hey, it worked. The wood distracted the hungry crocodile and the tourist was able to get back to shore. I just hope that tourist doesn't travel to Florida for his next vacation. Otherwise, he might have to recreate this video but with alligators. Here's the clip. Next up is train window. When you go on a roller coaster, you're told to keep your arms and legs in the ride at all times. And I'll bet your parents told you the same thing in a car when you were a kid. But did your parents ever warn you of the same thing but about trains? Okay, perhaps no because of common sense, but it seems like this girl needs to be told. One girl was on a train with her friends while on vacation and stuck her head out of the window for a photo. However, as she does this, another train comes speeding right the other way. She pulls her head back in just in time and all of her friends laugh. She says she's fine, but I think she needs to be way more careful. To be honest, it doesn't take a lot of care to not almost slam your head into a moving train. That said, this would make a pretty cool profile photo for Facebook. Here's the video, so be ready to get scared for that girl pretty soon. Next up is windy landing. This is yet another very scary close call involving an airplane. It was filmed in Hamburg, Germany in 2008. A passenger plane is landing at an airport, however it's a very windy day. The plane encounters a lot of crosswind as it lands, which is usually not an issue. However, the pilot loses control and the plane spins out. The plane then sways from side to side on the runway, but the conditions then become too dangerous for it to land. The pilot then has to abandon the landing and simply take off again. This has to be one of the most scary experiences for the passengers, let alone the pilot. The plane simply circled around the airport once more and it was able to land normally. Watch the video and check it out. Next up is skydiving harness. In California in 2012, 80-year-old Laverne wanted to go skydiving as it's something she's always wanted to do but's never done. Like most people, she was nervous about jumping out of the plane, but did. She then fell partially out of her harness. Her instructor tries to secure her back in, but it doesn't work, and she's hanging very precariously off the harness close to falling out of it. Amazingly though, the instructor managed to land them both safely to the ground. Laverne was fine, but that was a big risk. Later on, she was interviewed and said she thought she was doomed. And for her 81st birthday, she'd planned to go race car driving, but I'm not so sure that's a good idea. This is a gripping video, no pun intended, so check it out and your jaw will drop. Next up is ride harness. Have you ever been on a roller coaster? You've probably had some fears about falling out or if something goes wrong, but when you're off it and it's okay, you see there's nothing to worry about. Well, that is not the case for one kid in the mid-90s. The kid and his sister named Janet were riding a slingshot ride at a fair in the USA. The ride starts and begins to travel at around 100 miles an hour, but then all of a sudden the kid partially falls out of his harness. He shouts at Janet for help, but she doesn't realize. And when she finally does actually see what's happening to her brother, she begins laughing hysterically instead of helping. The kid then says this hurts and seems very annoyed by the ride. I have no idea why though, he seems pretty comfy. If you know someone who's going on a roller coaster soon, then show them this to scare them. The kid was totally unharmed and all was fine, but it must have been one scary experience for the kid. Not so much for Janet though. Next up is FLYBY. This one is super amazing. The photo was taken back in 1988 and it's of an F-14 Tomcat plane. The pilot, named Dale Snodgrass, was performing a flyby to a crowd watching planes fly. But he performed a super close and low pass right next to the audience. The photo looks like a screenshot from the movie Hot Gun, but no, this is a real image. As you can see, the wing looks dangerously close to the guy in the green shirt's head, but no, this is simply a very close call caught on camera. Have you ever had a real life close call yourself? If so, let me know in the comments section below. And check out the poll in the top right corner and you can vote for the scariest experience on this list. If you guys want something a bit lighter though, check out my second channel. There'll be a video for my second channel on screen in a moment, so click it to check it out. But as always, thanks for watching. Check out some more videos on screen right now. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.